Good evening. How are you? Well, it's 72 degrees out. It's pretty comfortable. Soon we'll be wearing warmer clothes because then it'll be too chilly out. But tonight's a nice night, so this is the bridge. The bridge to fall is coming to us. The other day, I was trying to remember the quote by Napoleon. And the context is this. Seneca, who is my favorite Roman senator, who's written a great deal, and he was a Stoic. And one of his many quotes was that the fates will lead you to your destiny or drag you to it. In other words, you're going to get to the same place. Do you want to go over there joyfully or dragged every inch of the way? Now, I've listened today to people, attack Trump. He's a this and he's a that. He doesn't know what he's saying and so on. And I don't know if that's true. And I don't know if you can choose your destiny. Now, a quote by Napoleon that interests me it starts with, "Destiny urges me to a goal of which I am ignorant. However, until that goal is attained, I am invulnerable, unassailable." And this is the kicker. "But when destiny has accomplished her purpose in me, a fly may suffice to destroy me." Now, what I'm thinking is, if you don't know your own destiny and you're on that path, does it mean, as perhaps Napoleon was saying, that your destiny is going to be glorious? But remember, Napoleon's destiny, after years of conquering, was to be sent to Elba. And when he escaped there and tried to march from the south of France to Paris, picking up troops as he went along before he was stopped again, he went back to Elba. And then he died there, some think because he was poisoned. So, what is Trump's destiny? He, like Napoleon, and it's flattering to compare him to Napoleon, but putting away the breadth of the good and the terrible that was Napoleon, Trump, his destiny seems to have been to run roughshod over our institutions, our laws, our Constitution, decorum, mercy, justice, so many things. Now, are we at that point where an insect could kill him? And we're talking about the metaphor. We're not talking about the ultimate passage of all of us to a moment in which we are no more. And in this destiny, we play a role. And the role we play is a part of his destiny. And I'd like to think it's unfolding now. In other words, his destiny is to teach us what we must do so that another Trump may never arise and so compromise this still young democracy. So, we see him in recent days, a different person. He's golfing on Labor Day. He's not really present. And I don't know if it's a carelessness, but it appears that the people around him have decided, they say, to let Trump be Trump. Well, what else can they do? He does not succumb to puppeteers of a domestic origin. He was ruled by Putin, it appears. But I don't think Putin expects as much from him. And the assassination attempt, and let's presume it's 100% true, is the kind of thing that would shatter a coward, a physical coward. And that's who he is, what he is. Do you think he would step forward to defend his daughter, his wife, and put himself at risk, even to be bruised? Not just now, but at any time in his life. Not when he's 78, when he's 68 or 58 or 48. At any of those ages, has he ever given us any sign that he would risk physical danger? And I think the unassailability, the invulnerability that was part of his makeup is no more. Let's compare him to a fighter, the sweet science. When somebody goes into the ring to fight, they cannot be afraid. We see all the time, fear is my friend, my companion. I live with fear. I deal with fear. This man does not operate on that level. I've seen and known candidates, and they have to have what we call a fire in the belly. I can do this. I'm going to win. I know what I'm doing. I don't require sleep. I don't require anything. I'm going to work at this to the end. So, was he bailing himself out on Sunday? That is, on some level, his intellect must tell him he's becoming a martyr in a way, the infinite victim that he plays all the time after he's brutalized someone else or some institution or some practice. So when he was interviewed, he said, "Of course I interfered." So he's golfing on Labor Day, and on Sunday he's talking about, "Of course I interfere. Of course I interfere." I think that we have to look at him withdrawing from the confrontation at his New Jersey golf course. They were going to have a gala celebrating those who were involved in Trump's failed coup. So he's talking the language, and it's like he's embracing his final and ultimate defeat. Now, could that change? Sure, it could. He could find himself. But even as we say this, the polls are inching toward Kamala and away from Trump. Is his destiny to be defeated and to teach us the lesson that never again shall we permit such a thing to happen? But is it unavoidable in a country that has at least two levels of justice? There's a justice which is quite light in its application, when you're a man like Trump or a strong politician, when you have the power to do what you want, when you want. Like he once said, how he could do anything he wanted with women. When you're famous, you can do these things. So, what is it that he's doing when he says, of course, I have a right to interfere in an election? He's admitting, it seems to me, in 2 of the criminal cases, he is delayed as much as possible. He is saying to the world that the case in Georgia and the case in Washington, D.C., yeah, I did that. Is he, on the other hand, so certain that he's going to win by overthrowing our government at the ballot box, or by demonstrations, or by violence, that he figures he can say or do anything he wants and he'll still prevail? I think that he's in a position where he finally is at the level where a flea may take him down. Although I think it's going to be a lot more than one mosquito. There are other things that I find annoying. One is that over the weekend, we had Clooney praising Biden. You know, there's 2 things here. One is, it's pretty presumptive that after pushing Biden up against the wall, he would come out and then praise Biden. And it almost feels to me like his real objective is to say, see what I've done? If it hadn't been for me, he wouldn't have withdrawn. And let's not talk about what we did or how we did it. The only thing that's important is he, like Washington, gave up being president for a higher goal. So like I said, I'm embargoing his new movie and Him Forevermore. He had no business doing that. He could have done those things privately, and apparently he did, but then he goes to the newspapers and runs down the President of the United States, and he's, I'm sorry, movie stars, they have a right to speak, but so do I. And he had no business doing what he did. The game of politics has very real effect, dramatic effect. And when people mix in on that level, no matter who put them up to it or they did it themselves, we can't respect them anymore. We just can't. I don't know how you are, but when I hear what some actors believe, it ruins for me the movies that they're in. And for those of you who are looking for an antidote to get through the weeks ahead, watch old episodes of West Wing. It's great for political obsessives because it takes you gently through crises and resolves them in whatever the length of the movie is, 45 minutes or an hour. And I see the West Wing episode in which, for the finale of that season, this political season, Trump gets his ass beaten badly. He loses the race. And if the politicians don't disappoint us, we try them. in all the jurisdictions, criminally and civilly. We open the gates. Because if we learn nothing else from Nixon, is that these guys don't learn anything. And that's the lesson. That's his destiny. To be beaten like a drum and to instruct the nation in the future to use the tools that the founders gave us. You know, when you hear members of the Supreme Court and the Federalist Society talk about what did the founders intend, you notice they don't talk about the amendments. They don't talk about the Civil War amendments. No. They talk about 1787, when women didn't have a vote, slaves didn't have a vote, unpropertied people didn't have a vote. And women, I suppose, came out the worst in all of this. So that's what they think America should be. But America has a rich history of reform, growing and becoming a stronger democracy, aiming to make it a place where no man is above the law. Well, Trump and many others we've seen are above the law. Epstein is a great example of that. You know, he just wasn't as strong and connected as he was. It wasn't enough for him. Menendez, he couldn't get a buy. And Trump, he, having reached the Oval Office, he's gotten a lot of buys, and some because of his appointments to the court. All of these are lessons to us that the destiny of Trump is to be beaten, to lose, and to instruct the nation that this is what we must avoid in the future. And we must learn that somebody like this has to be sent to Elba. That is, cashiered, put out to pasture, put in a jail cell, his fortunes taken away that were stolen from the people, as is that New York case. So that's what I got to say, and I hope to talk to you again tomorrow from my Cathedral of Trees. All the best. Bye-bye.